to start some introductions. Bonnie, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, still got people coming on. I'm just going to give it another minute, and then I'm going to kind of do an introduction and let Bonnie go on.
2 minutes and I drop. Volume's wide open. They can't hear us or not? Can they hear us? I didn't mute it.
Okay, folks, I'm going to get the show on the road here. Once again, my name is Joe Kennedy. I'm with Unity Business Systems. Bonnie Spence from the City of Norfolk has been gracious enough to give her a demo today of the DSS system. The City of Norfolk and the Human Resources or the Human Services began using Laserfiche, I think, in about 2011. And they did that as a replacement for EasyFiler. EasyFiler, as a lot of people know, kind of went out of business. They needed to do something to get all their records over and to continue on their paperless route. After a successful migration to Laserfiche, they really realized the value of Laserfiche and what it could provide to the rest of the agency. So Bonnie kind of led the charge and has extended the Laserfiche to child care, CPS, adoptions, fraud, and she can probably tell you about everything else where she's actually doing the where she's using Laserfiche within the agency. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of turn this over to Bonnie, but the one thing I'm going to ask is I didn't turn off or I didn't mute everybody's phones. So during her presentation, if you don't mind muting your phone, and when she's done, then we'll take questions after the presentation is done. Does that sound good to everyone?
Yep.
Okay, great. Well, Bonnie, I'm going to turn this over to you. If you want to add anything else onto this in my introduction, that'd be great. Otherwise, enjoy the presentation. Bonnie, thanks for doing this. And thank you all for attending.
Again, my name is Bonnie Spence. I'm a programmer and with the City of Norfolk, specifically assigned to Human Services. I've been with the city for 10 years. And as Joe mentioned, we came on board but when we came on board, we brought on quite a few more users, obviously, and now have, I would say, have bypassed what the rest of the city is using for. I'm going to get started here. Give you a little bit of overview first. We have over 500 workers that work for the Department of Human Services in Norfolk. We have 425 licenses that we use. So as you can imagine, just about everyone in our department uses them. People that don't, the 75 plus that do not, are part of our juvenile detention center. So they are ones they are not currently using. We came on board originally with benefits and homelessness, and fraud. So our biggest user is the benefits and eligibility workers. We have them pretty much spread out around the city. The majority of them are at our workforce development center, but we do have some neighborhood facilities, 3 different neighborhood facilities, and we have some at our community service board offices, and we also have a couple of workers at some of the local hospitals. So when patients are admitted and they need assistance, they can go directly to that office at the hospital. like I said, we came on board with benefits, part fraud. Since then, we've had quite a bit, as you can see in the fourth bullet there. We've got child care, CPS, APS, adult protective services, revenue reporting, adoption, energy assistance. We also do tax relief for the city of Norfolk as far as administrative support team and homeless unit and family services, and our director's office also do. What we do hope to bring on board pretty soon is our accounts payable and receivable. We're averaging about, just on the benefits side, we're averaging about 4,000 documents a day that come in through our system. Services, I would say altogether, probably about 1,500 or so, or probably more like 1,000 actually. The number of applications our benefits workers process is the 1,600 for SNAP, medical assistance, 950, about 230%. So these are the number of applications that they process. When a worker comes on board, we do.
Bonnie,
yes.
Excuse me, Bonnie.
Yes.
Two things. One, someone said they're having difficulty hearing you, and two, everybody who's not speaking, could you please mute your phone because we're getting some noise going across, or mute your computer.
Okay. Can you hear me a little bit better? We do come on board. We do training for all new employees. We do training at least once a month. Sometimes it's more often depending on the number of employees we have come in. And we do some retraining if necessary. Let me go ahead to the next one. Let me start with all the processes that we are currently using. And we're going to go over each of these individually. We do scanning, we do snapshotting, importing and exporting. We do use quick fills, workflow, we do nightly OCR. We upload all of our documents to the state system, or DEMIS, okay? And we have some additional processes that we plan on using, okay? Now, fortunately, I'm not going to be able to get into the system and show you things directly because I don't want to take the chance of accidentally showing you some confidential information on the webinar by bringing up someone's case. But over the last 4 or 5 years, I've done quite a few presentations. In fact, some of you have visited here. So let's continue on. Scanning, we do a couple of different types of scanning, and we're going to even do more here in the near future. We do manual scanning, which basically says you do the scanning, they put in the metadata that goes with it. But the majority of our people use barcode scanning. We have, for benefits, we have a central scanning room that what happens is the workers will literally drop their documents off in the scanning room on a bookshelf. And usually by the end of at the end of the same day, their documents have been scanned into Laserfiche. Okay, so the scanning room is used for our benefit and child care documents because they're all located at Workforce Development Center. Okay, we also have what we call our quick drop unit. We have a lockbox outside of our front door at the Workforce Development Center that people can just drop the documents off in a box. That box gets emptied every hour. And we call them the quick drop unit, will scan those documents into Laserfiche. So we have a separate group of about, I think it's 3 workers that scan documents that are dropped off during the day. They usually use barcoding and they use non-barcode scanning, which we'll talk about a little bit more here shortly. We have a separate unit that does what we call operation, that scans the mail and the faxes that come in. So any of those, they're set up with their own scanners, just like the quick drop people. So the majority of the scanning is done 3 different ways. The central scanning room handles all documents that are given that the workers have, that they've accumulated or received from the client themselves. And the quick drop does all the scanning that's done from the lockbox out front of the building, and then operations again does the scanning for mail and all the mail and faxes that come in. So let me show you first of all our barcode scanning. This is an example of our barcode. We use the up here, and obviously you can see I've gotten rid of the names here for confidentiality reasons. But what you can see here is that we use different document types. We have the case information, the name of the client, and then every one of our documents has a document type assigned to it. This example is an application renewal. We have about close to about 14 or 15 different document types. Other examples are income, medical information, expenses, residential, correspondence, and so forth. Okay, we capture when we receive the documents because we want to make sure that we received it on whatever days. The worker received it in this example on March 14th, and then we can keep track of when it was actually scanned. Now, that difference may be when the worker gets it to the scanning room, but like I said, most of our scanning is done that same day.
What?
Okay.
No, I'm.
Okay. Now, the user name here, the person, is the person that created the barcode. Okay. So this is who we go contact if we see something wrong with the documents.
No.
Okay. So that's how we keep track of who created the barcode, and we can go to them if there's an issue. The comments field doesn't look like much, but it actually does a lot for us. What this is telling me is that this is a disease. This tells me I'm going to assign it to a worker, but this LZL710 is an LDAT number, and in this case, Hassel, it wants this document to be transferred to this worker because Hassel is one of our quick drop people that scans. So she scans stuff that's dropped up to the front box, and she's letting this worker, LZL710, know that they got a new document in from somebody, for this case. So this LZL710 worker can go look online and see all the documents they've received so they can process the application, et cetera. So there's quite a bit involved in this process. We keep our barcode documents for 60 days in a drawer, and then they purge them out. I keep them online for 30 days, meaning that I can see this document on Laserfiche behind the scene for 30 days, and then we purge them. But the paper document is most times kept for 60 days. Obviously, if it's attached to a claim or fraud case, that makes a big difference. We keep them a lot longer. Okay? Yeah. And if you look over to the right here, this is an example of how I can see all the documents that were scanned, who scanned them. You see Norfolk / K. Hassel, D. Cassidy, and so forth. I can look at all the documents they scanned and when they scanned them. And I can open up each document and look at it if there's an issue. Okay. We do snapshot documents. In fact, it's mandatory. No documents should be printed to be scanned. We do track that if someone tries to do that. We workers snap anything and everything. They may snapshot some stuff out of our state systems. We also devase them in Oasis and Spider and so forth if necessary. But we also have our internal or RBS system, which is for our tax relief. We have people, tax relief people workers that will snapshot documents out of there. Obviously, if you've done any work with Laserfiche, you know that anything on any system pretty much can be snapshot down into Laserfiche. This is a major time saver for us. We don't have to worry about all the papers being printed, saved in a file. It can go directly into Laserfiche. And if you notice on the right, what they have to do when they're snapshotting, they put in a case number. We know behind the scene what that person's name is and address and so forth, their unit they belong to, who they are, in this case is my example, and the date that it was received. Okay. We do import and export quite a bit. We get documents on CDs from different localities. So we do import those files directly from those CDs. And one or two localities, Virginia Beach specifically, we get Laserfiche briefcases, so we can import those directly into ours. All pictures that are taken out in the field by our Child Protective Services, adoption, et cetera, or even now we just added the Adult Protective Services. All pictures on our telephones, cell phones, are downloaded directly into Laserfiche. We have saved so much money in this respect because what they would do, they would send the chip to get it all the pictures printed out, and then they only needed a few of them for court. So now they only print out something that they have to take to court, which is usually minimal. So this was a major cost savings for us to have the pictures downloaded directly to Laserfiche without having to print them and save them off into a file. The workers are expected to, and they do, download their pictures daily or as soon as they come in from the field to the office. We do export documents for CDs to transfer to other localities, and we'll talk about DEMIS a little bit later. We do export documents anytime we have state reviews. We can export documents for QA and state reviews. Okay, and obviously we can email documents to each other also, because we do email documents to our attorneys, because we used to have to literally have people take paper documents over to the attorney's office, get in a work van, city van, go to and come back all day long. Now, because they're on our mail server, we can just email the documents to the attorneys and so forth. So this has been also a time saver. We do use quick fields extensively. Okay. If you're not familiar with quick fields, it's just an automated tool that Laserfiche has to capture data. Okay. All of these you see on the right side are some of the quick field sessions I have created. Energy Assistance is a big user of these, and what quick field does for us is allows us to what we call no barcode scanning. In other words, you can put a stack of notice of expirations is a good example, or interim reports. Well, you just stack them all together and just scan them, and quick fields can literally read the text off the image and assign the metadata to it. For example, with and this is what we call no barcode scanning. So it uses OCR, or optical character recognition, which all that does, it takes text, reads the text off of the image itself, and take the text off the paper, or the image, and create the metadata. For example, we can pull the case number off the text on notice of expiration. We can assign a document type, which is going to be correspondence. So this saves, they don't have to create barcodes, and they don't have to scan anything as far as putting in metadata. We literally can take a stack of notice of expirations and scan them, and it will go to the right cases in Laserfiche. Okay. Energy was a big user of this because they have so many documents that came from the states, and we could, at the end of the month or after the end of the energy period, application period, and they were scanning thousands of documents at one time manually. So this saved us a lot of money. We probably have about 35 documents that we scan without the user having to do anything. Some of these, as you notice on the right side, are a notice of action, notice of expiration, all the energy documents. some of the invoices that we can do. Notice service plans, child care, services of purchase of services. All that's done through Quick Fields. Workflow. Workflow is just a way, it's just a tool to automate your processes that happen over and over and over again. Our big user is that the worker will scan documents into a particular folder and we process it and move it to the right place. When I say the right place, to the right retention folders. Assign the metadata that can be used to put the document where it needs to go. We can do database lookups. We can do inserts to the database. So for example, if we have a client, a new worker that comes in and we've set them up in the system, in our system, we can put in their client ID, the worker ID, and pull up all that information and assign it to the document. Any new documents that come in that someone needs to know about, we can email the workers that this document has come in. QA processing. We have some of these that run at nighttime to let us know if someone scanned something to the wrong place or something did not work correctly. Say, for example, the barcode wasn't legible and it did not process correctly. When we come in the next morning, this workflow process lets us know that when it runs on a nightly basis, lets us know there were problems. And we have a couple of people here that clean up the data. Or if it's not something that we can fix, we notify the worker and say, look, there was a problem, you need to rescan. Okay, and we probably have about 40 to 50 of these workflows that we have. You see the ones on the right, the snapshot, all of our snapshotting, whether it's accounts payable, child care, receivables, and so forth. All of these snapshot folders or workflows literally take the documents from wherever they scanned it in, we assign the metadata, and then we send it to the correct retention folder. Okay. Okay. Now, we do not OCR or do the optical character recognition when we are snapshotting or scanning. The reason is our volume of documents are so high, so we have turned off the OCR process to run during the day when they are scanning or snapshotting. So we have an automated task that does this nightly, and this, like I said, saves us. It takes a couple hours to run sometimes, but it's much better to have this running at night. And what this allows me to do, if that person can't find a document and they know they put it in, or quick drop or email operations that we put the document in the system. So if someone put it in the wrong place or they assigned the metadata, I can do a text search the next morning and find any document that's missing. I can do a search by the name. I can do a search by the social security number. I can do a search by whatever may be on that document. Most of the time it's their name. So we can find documents that are in the wrong case. Okay? So this OCR is really good for QAing especially. Now, DEMIS. DEMIS is the state document management system. The reasons that we are not using DEMIS is, the biggest reasons are as listed here, is that the QAing. We tried it. The QA, you got to pay. You got to QA one page at a time. Some of our documents are just huge, especially when we get transfers from other localities. We can't, if we still get some paper documents from some localities, we cannot sit there with our volume of 4,000 documents. Someone needs to put their telephone on mute. I'm hearing conversations.
I'm in.
Anyway, let me try to continue on here. you can't QA one page at a time, where a Laserfiche obviously allows you to QA the whole document at one time. Okay. Because of that reason, we would have had to hire more workers just to do scanning.
What color? I'll go downstairs.
There's someone on the telephone that is talking. Can you mute your telephone, please? Thank you. Let me start over here with the DEMIS upload process. The QA process, like I said, takes one page at a time. We would have had to hire more workers for scanning. You cannot snapshot using DEMIS, and that's a big one for us. And one of the other major reasons is the limited number of scanning licenses. You can buy more, license and scanner, but we just have, our volume is just too big, and obviously because we're spread out in so many different localities to service our clients all over the city, that we could not, with the limited number of licenses and scanners that they gave us, it just wouldn't work. So those are the reasons that we have not gone with DEMIS. Okay, now, but we do upload all of our documents to DEMIS. We do this nightly. We have a scheduled task that runs every night around 7 o'clock. Someone's got their music going. Am I the only one hearing it?
Oh.
Okay.
Someone has put us on hold.
Yeah, okay. I'll try to continue on here. Okay, that's better. We do upload our documents from Laserfiche to DEMIS nightly. The configuration that Unity did with this was great because it made it very easy for us to do the configuration. We could define what document types we wanted to upload, how many we wanted to upload in a given night, and so this has been great. We queue our documents every hour, but we upload them at night around 7 o'clock. So all the documents in the last hour will get queued up, and then we do this every hour for the whole day long. So when we are ready to run the upload process, we can, they'll just run fast. The process that they wrote also that Unity involved allows us to see the errors that we have, because there are limitations set by DEMIS. And that one is that the document shouldn't be over 5 megabytes, okay? We do get some documents in color, so that, that does cause, we don't do color. We only do black and white, with the rare exception for CPS pictures and stuff. We'll do some in color. But for the documents that get loaded to DEMIS, which is only benefits side and child care, we do everything in black and white. So unless we get a big document from another locality, we may get a few errors as far as our documents being too big, but it's not that many. Or we may get an error from the upload because they created the document and we queued it up all day long, but since then they deleted it. So, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just letting us know it got queued up, but the document is now no longer there for them to upload. Okay. We can manually queue documents. If a document it comes in that didn't get uploaded, or we want to send something from a previous time, or from before the DEMIS upload started, for some reason we need to upload a couple of documents, you can manually queue documents to be uploaded even though they weren't created that day. And DEMIS takes our document, they process it, and they will give us every morning a error file if there was problems on their end. And the only time it's going to be a problem on their end so far, the only error we've ever gotten, is that the case is invalid. So there are times where the worker has created the case in Laserfiche, but it hasn't been done or hasn't been processed completely on the VASM side. Usually this is a pending application process where it hasn't been completed on VASM, but they have done the work on our side. So in this case, the document doesn't get uploaded, but we can requeue it to go up later on once they have done that. Okay. These are the configurations. I'll just go over this briefly on how easy it is to set up the queue to go to documents to go up to DEMIS. On the left side where you see name, these are the CC is our child care, CS is our benefits side or case side. And what this does is takes the crosswalk from our name, for example, our application and redeterminations, and we can assign it their document types and their DEMIS code and subcode. Because our document type do not match. In some cases they do not match the ones in DEMIS. So this allows you to go to crosswalk to say, okay, our document type is this, and it crosswalks to, when the upload is done, it crosswalks to the DEMIS code. So that's how easy this is to set up. And you know, I haven't really changed it, if you look, since 2015 when we started this process. Okay. Now this is the email we get that every night that the when we do the upload. Now we don't normally send 3,700 documents up in a given night, but our server was down a couple of nights for maintenance, so we had to do a little catch up this night. So this tells us that this, and this comes out of the whole process that Unity wrote for us, and we get an email knowing it's successful, and they package and upload it, in this case over 3,700 documents, and the file name that it went up. Okay, again, we don't normally do this. It's our server was down, so that's why we had more documents this particular night. Okay, there are some processes that we are planning on using. We are definitely going to forms here in the very near future. Norfolk got forms last year, but we just really got it made available to us a couple of months ago. And I see this really being a great tool for us. We're going to start using it for internal transfers. Our units or within DHS are set up where you have intake and then you have ongoing, for example, or we have intake documents that go from intake to ongoing, intake to our what do they call it, the senior unit, Center for Aging unit. And so when documents come in, they have to be transferred to different departments sometimes. So if our intake worker is processed a case and now it goes to ongoing, they send a notification or they send a document to the ongoing worker or the Center for Aging worker or the Medicaid and so forth, to the other departments saying, okay, this is now your case. Right now, that's being done by the documents that they do online. They transfer through Laserfiche. But with this, we're going to set up a form so they can do it online real easily. And all they're going to have to do is enter the case number and we know we can pull out of the database with the name and so forth and who they're sending it to. And by doing it this way, we can keep track of things a little bit better. We'll know when the worker has responded or completed that task. So we'll know that when this case was transferred to the other unit, when they accepted the transfer. So it's really good, going to be a lot better audit trail, because sometimes you have issues where they say, well, I sent it to you last week. No, I didn't get it. Now we have a little bit better audit trail when things were done. We have some audit trail, but it's not the best right now. So this would really be a great tool for us to handle and be able to keep an audit trail when cases transfer from one department to the other. Call center. We have an internal system that we use for call center. It's a homegrown system. So if we get telephone calls through our call center saying they're updating the address, or they will need to add a child to a case, or the name has changed, or something has happened with that case, we have an internal system that does this for them, but it's a little outdated. So what's going to happen now is that forms will allow us to create an online form so that they can enter this information. And the same thing with the internal transfer. They'll be able to enter it and say, okay, this was a name change, or we added a child to this case, send it to the worker, and they'll get notified that this change has occurred, and they can take whatever action they need to. Again, we'll know when the telephone call came in, and now we'll know when the receiving worker has taken some sort of action on it. So it's a little bit, it can be like I said, a lot better audit trail. And I see us using the forms a lot, even within our administration here, doing purchasing, for example, creating purchase orders or ordering services or something from a vendor. So I see this being great. So I'm really looking forward to getting this done. And it's a little bit of a learning curve for me. But I think this is going to be great once we get it going really good. We've already started designing the forms, and we just need to get the procedures and processes in place for that. Connector. Okay. This is new to me. I know it's been out in Laserfiche for quite a while, but this is another tool that we're going to take advantage of. If you notice, the screen here is an actual VASM screen, okay, a case. Connector is an add-on to Laserfiche, but they do have a test utility that you can use to make sure it works with whatever system you want to use. Connector is basically a tool that allows integration with your third-party applications. For example, we can use Connector with PeopleSoft. I know that's a big user out in the community. I don't think City of Norfolk has taken advantage of that yet outside of DHS, but that's a big one, and that's already in place. But I did test it against VASM, and it does work. I've tested it against our internal tax system, RBS, which is our internal tax system that we use, and it does work. What this is going to allow us to do is we're going to be able to put an icon right on the screen. So whenever we bring up a case, we can press that little icon. It's going to bring up all the documents that are for that case. It's going to bring them up in Laserfiche. We're not talking about DEMAS. It will automatically search on the documents that are in Laserfiche for that case. Okay, so it's going to save you a little bit as far as, going, getting out of Laserfiche and bringing up the case number, entering the case number, and doing a search. Here, you press a little button. Once you get this installed, we'll have a little icon there. You press the button, and it will automatically, and you can see down here when I did the test, where it pulled that number off of the screen, and I will be able to now put that number on and pass it along to Laserfiche, and it'll automatically bring up Laserfiche and pull up those documents. But what we're going to also do is that we're going to add another different icon that's going to allow us to add a case to Laserfiche. We can pull this case number, and on different screens, which I couldn't show you for obvious confidentiality reasons, we can add the case information, the client name, the address. All that will be able to be added automatically to our Laserfiche barcode program, so that we don't have to create the case in Laserfiche. We can press this button here in VASM, and it will automatically pull down information and create the case for us in Laserfiche without us having to enter the data. So these are the two processes that we hope to take advantage of in the near future, and I was really excited to see that it worked good with VASM. Okay, and I have not used it with any other system because VASM is the one that we really wanted to take advantage of. But my understanding, it can be used just about everywhere, any third-party application. So if you have a different system that you use, and this connector, this test utility they have, is the test utility itself is free. You can get it through Unity, and they can set it up so you can test the utility. Okay, now I mentioned earlier that we do barcode scanning. Well, we do, and we do create barcodes, but we're going to take advantage of something that's already happening. Obviously, all new documents, or not all of them, majority of the documents now that are created with VASM have these two barcodes at the bottom. Okay, those are designed to be able to scan the document to DEMAS when you get them back from the client. Well, we can use the same barcodes in Laserfiche. Okay, So, and these barcodes are what we call data metrics barcodes. They look like, I don't know if you're familiar with the QR barcodes that you see out there, but they are different. The QR barcodes that you see on apps and marketing, etc. These are similar, the 2D barcodes, but these are a little bit more secure than the QR barcodes. So that's why I think the state went with these. Okay. Now, so what information is here? In the bottom left, this barcode has the case number, the DEMIS document type. All right. Over here, it tells us the this barcode includes the FIPS, which in our case is 710. It has the Norfolk City 710 as the literal. It has the case address and the case number. So it has 123 Main Street, Norfolk, Virginia zip code, and their case number. So you can scan these documents directly into Laserfiche using the data metrics, these data metrics barcodes, and it will pull up all the data out of there. So using the workflow and so forth that we talked about, quick fills and then workflow. So the way we're going to use it, quick fills will read these barcodes, and then we're going to use workflow to convert their document types. Because remember, DEMIS document types are different than ours. So if it's to just convert the document types to ours, and then we can automatically scan all these documents into Laserfiche. You don't have to have any. So you can just pick a stack of documents. They can be different documents. They don't have to be the same document. They can just, all documents that come in the mail, just open up all the mail, stack them all together, scan them into the scanner, and it will read, and I've got it set up to read to page 1 right here, so I know this is a new document. So that you can just feed the scanner all day long. You don't have people having to create barcodes. You don't have to have people manually scanning every document, looking up the case number and so forth. So this we've got in place. We just ready to be used. We're not using yet because we're trying to get some of our procedures in place internally. But this is ready for us to go. And I'm excited about this because this is even going to save our workers a lot more time. Because when our workers get their documents from the clients and so forth, and the clients come and visit, they create a barcode and take them to a scanner room. Now they'll just be able to stack all these things up. And or if they come in the mail, the people in the mail room operations unit will be able to stack them all up, and they can scan them right there. And it's going to take so much time. It's going to be such great time saver. So we're going to take advantage of these barcodes that are already on the BASIM documents that are going out. So that's planned. Actually, like I said, we've already got it set up. We just got to get our procedures in place to handle that. So. I'm trying to think. I think that's it, unless anyone has some questions.
I have 2 questions. The first one is, how does the workflow retention affect the overall retention for that record? I saw something where it said, it's being retained for 27 days. Is that separate and apart from the actual record retention for that case file?
Oh yeah, that's definitely a difference. So when we scan documents in and comes through the workflow, depending on the type of document it is, and then it goes to a retention record series. And that retention record series is defined by the keys of 3 years, 5 years, and in case fraud can sometimes be up to 75 years.
Okay,
so
great.
Yeah, that's totally different. And now, and the other thing is we have some cases that are claims and fraud cases, for example, that we have to keep, a lot longer. So if we have a document type of claims, then that automatically goes to a different retention record series, and that's being kept longer.
Okay. The second question is, you mentioned emailing this data for QA reviews and those kinds of things, or to attorneys. Is that information automatically encrypted?
Well, no, because not to our city attorneys because they are on our email servers, so we don't have to do that, okay? But if we have anything that we have to send to outside of our attorneys, which we do have attorneys outside that we have to send to them, we encrypt those emails, and that's done by the workers themselves.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any other questions? Okay, folks. Well, thank you for attending the demonstration by Bonnie. Bonnie, once again, thank you very much for your time and your effort putting this together. It was very concise and to the point. If anyone would like to know more about the Laserfiche, I know some of you are already using it, but we can provide a individual demo. There's currently, I believe, 15 localities in Virginia, the DSSs, that are actually using the Laserfiche system in conjunction with DEMIS. Please contact us. We'd be more than glad to put together a on-site demo for your viewing pleasure. Also, the Laserfiche has been customized for DSS. Norfolk was our first time in, and what we actually did is we created a template, and what we do is we kind of drop that template and then customize it for your location. So the time to go forward and the time to actually implement the system is very minimal, and we can talk to you more about that. Are there any other questions before we sign off?
I think they would like for you to share the PowerPoint.
Yeah, that can be done. So, Bonnie, if we can get the PowerPoint from you, and then we can share it out to the folks, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, well, I think Jeremy already has it. Yeah.
Does he? Okay. So yeah, then we can share that out to everybody who's been on the call today. That'd be great. Any other questions? I'm looking through chat. I didn't see anything here. Okay, folks. Well, thank you for your time. Bonnie, once again, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone have a great day.
You too.
Thank you. Bye.